All right, after all the pressure of Joe Budden not Joe Budden was facing a lot of backlash for removing the part of his Diddy breakdown from when the video first surfaced on CNN. The news had broke while they were mid-recording. They had talked about it for like 3 or 4 minutes twice in the podcast. There was that whole fiasco. I'm sure all of y'all are aware already. Today is Wednesday, and he released his new episode, and he's fully addressed it finally. And he's fully denounced Diddy. And he did it in Joe Fat. He didn't give a half kick your back in. He did a full kick your back in moment. And I think we're going to have to skip a little bit towards like...
You're going to skip Chigs Smooth's intro?
Shout out Chigs Smooth.
Chigs was kind of prefacing it with everything that I just said.
This is a person I've been like avoiding subscribing to for a while.
Why?
Because
Why you hating on Chigs, man?
Damn.
I feel like if I subscribe to him, I'm going to end up watching like at least a couple videos a week. And I don't know if I got
You're scared of being more informed.
You're scared of being locked in.
You know, it's kind of like there's only so much I'm willing to introduce to my subscription tab.
You know what comes with this. You don't want to make that investment.
You know?
And you've already chose Danny from the stop side.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. Well, I feel like this guy's more well-rounded. Danny's like very Joe Budden specific.
So why'd you hire Danny?
Yeah.
Should I inquire with Chigs Smooth?
Well, I'm not managing
They just had a little beef. We're going to cover that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Joe facilitated it on a Twitter space.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, hit play. I think you might have to skip at least 2 minutes into when Joe starts talking.
Here's what Joe said about Puff and Cassie and also about the apology video.
We're starting with the news that CNN broke last week where they obtained hotel footage of Puff violently, graphically stalking and attacking Cassie. If that other angle come out, maybe kidnapping as well. Whoa. But when it turned the corner, we don't get to see. But you ran a long way down that hallway, and if you dragged her even 4 more feet, we now include kidnapping. That shit was disgusting, what we all had to witness. That shit was almost unbearable to watch. I'm certain that was triggering for a lot of people. Absolutely. A lot of people that saw it. And that was Friday. I assumed that he would go and just hide somewhere. But why would you do that when you are just a glutton for attention? So he pops right back out. Talk about tone deaf. Talk about inability to read a room. Where are the fucking publicists? Where's anybody in this moment? But he pops back out with this half-hearted bullshit apology that was like, it's almost offensive. It was like a slap in the face, that apology.
I didn't even watch it. I don't need to hear from
uninformed part.
I mean, I watched it because it was quick. It wasn't even, he didn't even try to put some sincerity into this thing. That CNN Puff story broke as we were recording.
Literally.
And while we did touch on it, when I listened back, I didn't feel like enough time was devoted to just how much of a fucking lunatic that nigga looked like and what that means industry-wide for all parties involved. I think this broadcast is too big and comes with a great responsibility in matters like this. And I know that a lot of the music industry listens to this podcast. And I don't think this is the last of it, nor do I think that he is the only one. So at any point we want to start having some uncomfortable conversations. Not only am I down for it, but I'm down to initiate it. Because this shit is a mess out here. And he looks like a fucking nut. He looks like a complete
monster.
Just a complete evil.
And you know the classic irony of like his situation with
and I knew that this would open that fucking can of worms, which we're kind of seeing today.
And I feel like he's thought about like this whole Diddy situation for the longest time, like just of. I don't want to say he practiced that in the mirror, but he definitely chose his words very carefully.
That's
You
what
know
I'm saying.
Like,
That's why I don't like it. There's only one response to this Diddy situation, so it's always gonna sound curated and careful and all that shit.
Yeah.
And plus, at the end, he kind of did something without doing anything at all, where he was like, "Nigga, there's some other niggas in the industry that do it too."
Yeah, he did.
And I'm ready to start this shit.
and while also bigging himself up, you know, like I kind of set the standard. A lot of people in the music industry watch me, which is probably true. It's definitely
It is true because they killed him for removing it.
But
You
did
know
he
what
set
I'm saying?
did he just now set the standard of like fuck Diddy?
Yeah, he did.
But you've kind of gotten to the point where even if Diddy was your best fucking friend, if you've got a podcast and you're expected to speak about this, like, could Diddy hold it against you after that video
No,
comes
he
out?
can't.
Like, there
He
is no
can't.
reasonable
No.
reaction to that video aside from this is abhorrent behavior, and I really need to make it perfectly clear that I don't support this in any way.
I'm not
Right.
Any
Right.
reasonable
Yeah.
person has got to say that.
No, literally,
I would
yeah.
not do this to my spouse.
Yeah.
Which I struggle with because I hate to get onto a podcast and do a segment in which there is nothing to do except virtue signal. When the virtue
Yeah,
signaling is so obvious and you're
Yeah.
saying things that really usually don't need to be said. I think it's wrong to beat women. You know, usually we don't got to say that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
but I feel for him because he's close enough to the situation that people
Yep.
expect him to have commentary about it, you know?
That's what I don't even like the fact that he has to do this because it's gonna sound like that, and there's only one response to it. And
Yeah.
it's only one way to do it.
Yeah.
Even the episode title was what was it? Last to leave the party. Let me see again.
It sounded realer than Diddy's apology for sure.
But do you think that there was really anything that I've seen so many people saying that the response was tone deaf and it was the worst apology ever, which I kind of feel like
Talking about Diddy's apology?
Yeah, but I feel like everybody, like in the commentary community or whatever, I feel like everybody says that about every apology.
Let's be honest.
It's
that
always
apology was
I don't know.
You thought it was that bad?
that apology
was pretty
was
bad.
worse than your improv. I'm not gonna tell you.
No,
I'm
yeah, bro,
so
it was pretty
serious.
bad.
I think
bro.
that
It's worse than your implants.
okay, he demonstrated one thing, that he feels like shit about the whole thing, right? He looked
Right.
miserable.
He
That's the only thing I got from him.
he looked
Yeah,
like
but
he was
then you
coming
also
down.
but the reason it looked even crazier is because he was saying the truth will come to the light and y'all will have to admonish my name pretty much. Like he was moving with that energy of nigga, this shit's all fake anyway. And one day y'all are gonna be apologizing to me.
And-
so that was the energy he had. And then as soon as the video comes out,
Yeah.
he's like, I'm getting help. It's like, come on, bruh. It's-
Because he put out that statement like a couple days before that
That's
came
what I'm
out,
saying.
right?
He should have just kept. Well, he should have just said it was AI. Honestly, if he wanted to keep that energy, it was just like it was all over the place.
No, it just completely
which made
denied.
the apology look crazy.
You are right though. Where's his PR team? Like, where's his assistant?
But I have to imagine that the PR team somehow was involved with that just because like there has to be people involved, you know? It's like there's no way he could actually like put something like that out. Which to be fair, he has been putting out a lot of content in general. Like photos of him with his kids, with you know, like he's actually just been posting shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Which very few people would in this situation.
Well, that's the thing. It seems like his PR or at least his legal team is advising him. He hasn't made any statements on anything that we've seen. They ran up in 3 of his houses. He didn't make no statement on what we saw there. But then it's like he made a statement on this. It seemed like he was playing along with what his lawyers were telling him to do, which was move like nothing's happening. And then once this video came out, he said, "All right, well, we have to say something."
I think he was ignoring their advice. That nigga was moving like he still kind of wanted to control the narrative without like putting himself in jeopardy legally.
Yeah.
Like,
My bad.
There's a way to move ordinarily.
Yeah.
Like we wasn't seeing Diddy on just in random hot tubs on yachts before.
Yeah, not like this.
Until he started going outside and trying to project like everything.
Saw a lot of family energy during this.
I feel like this
He's
is
rich enough to stay private.
It's a very specific PR tactic at this point. When something looks so bad that there seems like there's almost no way to get away from it, you might as well flood the zone with a bunch of bullshit and hope that you can kind of like muddy the waters, because that's what Tory Lanez did expertly. And I feel like even if the fact that he lost the court case, he managed to convince a gigantic percentage of the hip hop audience that he was innocent.
That is true. That is true.
And really, like, creating that sort of confusion is maybe the best thing that Puff could hope for at this point. in terms of his public image, because he's seeing even the voices that were willing to either be silent or speak out on his behalf. He's seeing almost all of them run for the hills now, and you're seeing all kinds of people issue apologies. I shouldn't have been so lackadaisical about this. I should have held him to a higher standard, you know?
Yeah, and shout out to the people who did kind of double back, like Slim Thug doubled back and apologized to
Exactly,
Cassie.
yeah, he's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, because he was one of the people, so many people were defending Diddy when everything first happened.
popped.
Yeah. But it doesn't seem, there hasn't been as fast of a rush. It was definitely more people defending Diddy when Cassie dropped her paperwork than post video denouncing Diddy or doing that. It's still the scales are still off in those respects.
It's
for
crazy,
sure.
like this whole Diddy situation.
Yeah.
Like, is it like, has he done a lot of favors throughout the years, or just extorted niggas throughout the years? Like, which one?
Same thing.
It could be both, bro. Bro,
But it depends on how you look at it.
He's been in this shit since like, bro, forever. It's like
Mid-90s.
30. Yeah, bro, like 30 years.
Early
plus.
90s, because Biggie was like 92, 93,
yeah, bro,
whatever,
like, bro, and then he was like Andre Harrell's assistant, like, bro, he's been in this shit for so long, it's ridiculous.
And he's been trying to convince everybody that he was far from Suge. Like, he was a different person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
that was just one era shit.
Yeah.
It's
He had
so
just
many,
so
bro,
much
yeah.
power, so much ability to do
power
something
is
for
crazy.
you / take opportunities away from you,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
But now it's gotten to the point where it's like even somebody like Joe Budden can't just bow before that.
Right, and they're even weighing on. People are even. I think the pressure is even coming on Jay-Z too, because he's one of those powerful billionaires in hip hop that we saw them. They're same time, not kind of the same time, not the same time, but you know, those are our two hip hop billionaires that we can
Mount
go to
Rushmore.
immediately.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Hove hasn't said nothing yet.
He's been being brought up lately for, like, you know, he's next.
People wanting to assume that he has similar skeletons.
Yeah, what? Yeah, they do. Yeah, I don't. That shit has seemed weird to me because I'm like, I don't.
They said that about
Jay.
Jay-Z for longer than they did about Puff.
Yeah.
I feel like the original hip hop Illuminati conspiracy theories always led with Jay-Z and Beyonce are the devil.
Yeah.
And the baby is fake.
Yeah, nigga.
I was hearing shit like about
okay,
that
yeah,
way
Baby-
before Diddy.
The baby is Play-Doh for sure. I heard that. For sure. Swear to God.
Animatronic.
Nigga. Yeah.
They real now though.
But I was saying that, like, have you, I know you're deeper in the music industry. Like, why does he keep being brought up? Or is it just easy?
I just feel like it's like everybody's always grasping at the next narrative. And it's like everybody wants to look like they predicted some shit. So it's like if there is a Jay-Z lawsuit coming down the pipe someday, people just want to be like, yeah, I was the first one to fucking say it, even when there was no evidence and
I
no
see what
reason
you're
to
saying.
think this, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like everybody in rap and in media in general, it's just like a war to latch on to the next hot narrative first. And that's just what people are trying to throw Jay in there. I mean, Jay, like, I would assume if you go back into the early days of his career, he's probably got some problematic behavior and shit like that. But that's a big difference compared to like Puff actively being in this kind of relationship for decades. You know, like Dr. Dre, every time something good happens to Dr. Dre on a business level, they bring up the assault allegations from back in the day and they say, oh, how could Apple be in partnership with this guy who was an abuser, whatever. But like, I mean, that's an assault or maybe a couple of assaults from like, 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It's kind of easy to like write that off at a certain point.
His new wife, his most recent wife that's divorcing him, she put some shit on the table too.
Yeah, I don't know.
She married him when he had
Yeah.
his biggest muscles.
I have an extra level of skepticism for anything that happens in a divorce proceeding.
Okay, that's
So I'm just
fair.
going to throw that out there. I treat that kind of stuff way different.
But he does have a history too, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I would assume he's somebody who's probably got his shit together in large part over the years. I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows?
Either way, with Jay, let us let Jay be great until we have some sort of reason to believe such a thing.
Yeah. And then Tahiry definitely clapped back in the comments, so that happened. So then Joe clapped back at her. If you could pull that video up too, I think this is also another Chigs video.
Did he read it out or?
He read it out. Yep, he read it out.
And what was this on Twitter?
Instagram.
I could save
shout out
some.
to Tahiri slams Joe for his comments on the Joe Budden show.
I could save some vocal power by letting Chigs read it so that we don't have to.
This is actually not even Chigs. This is Chigs, one of Chigs' employees that is reading it.
Oh, he got a whole staff. I didn't
He
know
does.
that.
The Shade Room would post about Joe Budden's response, and Tahiri would jump in the comments saying, "This whole took me out. So hard to watch. So sorry for Cassie and every other woman who is currently going through it or has ever gone through it. It's tough." She will continue, now talking about Joe. F out of here. Who? The irony. This is so triggering. I remember Joey throwing me down a flight of stairs, dragging me back into the house, and me having to talk him into letting me go. But Joe would see that comment and respond in kind, saying, Tahiry, you are a lying, failed gold digger that has abused, targeted, and manipulated many men. Outside of me, you lack an identity, which is why you've tried desperately to attach yourself to me for over 15 years. The last time I saw you, I purchased a mattress from you and you were happy you made the sale. You were fine then. There was that night at the Starlet 6 years ago when you invited me inside your new place. You were fine then too. You were on my body your entire last stint on Love and Hip Hop and tried your best to disrespect my son's mother in the process. I had to ask producers to keep you away from us like the cancer you are. Yet you continue to slide my name online because it's your identity. I don't speak to you or about you because it's low vibrational. You're a low-level Dykeman con woman who's been lying about, you already know, for ages. I pray you heal and move on one day. Hopefully this is our last exchange. Prayers to all real victims. Tahiry would respond to Joe Budden saying, you can say whatever you want about me. Those that know me, know. I'm not scared of you anymore. You can keep bullying, intimidating the rest. Those that know you and are around you also know the truth. Sad that they continue to enable your behavior. Your time is coming. That's an ominous threat by Tahiry. But what do you think about this? Let me know in the comment section.
Those messages so fast because they've been having that same conversation for like 30 years.
Shout out Chigs Smooth. Every single comment that we just read or listened to him read was pinned by the Shade Room too, which I think is pretty funny.
That's good journalism.
So Joe kind of went crazy on that first initial clapback. I was like, oh shit, that shit is never gonna end. That's never gonna end.
Why should we take Tahiry's word any less seriously than we take Cassie's?
I was about to say, like, we don't really talk about Joe's past a lot.
We don't.
Because it's been so much over the years and it's been so long.
But even like multiple people. Yeah. Like it's multiple people past we don't talk about. So it's
there is,
you know what I mean? Like
I guess
there's usually never a good context to bring it up.
Most of the time,
like, yo, it used to be bitches. Like how you just landed.
At this point, it's relevant, but at the same time, I don't remember the story 100%. Well, it's relevant just because they had this exchange, but I don't remember. I don't know if there was paperwork. The Cassie thing hit so hard because there's like paperwork with like multiple stories detailing, and then we had the video that like reassured it. I do remember the times. When Joe would go up to the Breakfast Club, like this is like golden era, and that was when like they were pressing him on all his allegations at that point. I remember that, and I remember just thinking that interview was kind of crazy. But
like, did you sit on her stomach or her chest?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So that was the last. That's my last. Those are like my last visual memory of even bringing that up. But I don't know, man. I can't even keep up with the stories, honestly.
You have a code of conduct, like code of conduct when it comes to situations like this.
Don't hit the bitches. You can yell at them maybe a little bit, but don't hit them.
Is that the first or the last rule?
Don't throw them down the stairs. Also, I guess is probably a good thing. I don't know. I feel Joe because like that narrative that he just put out there, for all I know, may be 100% correct.
Right.
Or
that
it may be
digging slut.
Or it may be complete fabrication. Yeah. We really honestly don't know.
It's hard to say.
Her level of commitment to it is kind of impressive because she's been sticking with this shit for a long fucking time.
They have not budged on either of them. Neither of them have budged on their positions. So at this point, I don't know who to believe. Just put some paperwork out.
We need some tapes.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because they've held strong on both sides.
And realistically, they seem like they were both hitting each other. It seemed like that it was that.
I can see that.
I could definitely see that.
I could definitely see mutual combat.
A little time mutual combat. Especially back then, Joe was under the influence of the angel dust.
And Tahiry got a low center of gravity.
So it was just like, she fucking falls easily.
Bro, let's not forget when Consequence ran up on Joe, Tahiry was the one that gave him that two-piece. Because Consequence hit Joe from the back, and Tahiry said, pow. I was like, it's up. It's up with this relationship.
She had a random nigga. She's hitting niggas that she loved. Like, that's the level story.
Yeah, man. And if it was, because we don't even know if it was mutual combat, we're just saying that seems like the highest possibility. If there was, I never judge those situations because at the same, I'm like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah,
that shit was mutual. Sometimes you might have been,
Okay, I got a hot take. I feel like almost all, even Joe Budden's fans probably think deep down inside that he's been abusive in relationships. They don't give a fuck because his content is really good.
I don't think it would surprise them, and I don't think it would change the way they view him. But hypothetically speaking, right, if you're a podcaster,
Joe's watching.
Joe's watching. Allegedly since episode 4.
No, he watching Chigs Smooth.
Yeah, probably.
Fuck this shit.
He's probably watching Danny on Twitter somewhere. But if you're a podcaster that did some things back in the day, and then this comes out about a nigga that you will just be cool with, and you got to speak on it, do you just come out and be like, yeah, I used to do that, but I denounced that and all the other people who did it?
But then it's also
like you personally, as a podcaster, at the level that you at.
If he could say though, like, do you think anybody would give him an out if he said like, yes, I used to beat my girl, but I've changed?
Nobody cares.
Like, would that work?
Nobody cares because all his fans are his age, and so that era of like people. It was a little,
but this shit all kind of feels fake because everybody knows how fucking common it is for dudes to have relationships where they're basically beating their girls / beating the shit out of each other. I know so many goddamn people that are like that it all feels a little bit like we're speaking like internet language and acting as if we don't all know that shit definitely
know
takes
people
place.
Who have mutual combat.
And I say that as someone who I've never been in a relationship like that. I couldn't imagine. I don't want anything to do with a relationship like that, but Joe Budden's not the only person I know that seems like they have had this kind of thing in the past.
Yeah. So we just normalize abuse.
Not normalize.
I don't want to normalize it. I'm just saying it's already normal to a certain extent. It's not like 50% of people, but it might be 15.
Yeah. It's not frowned upon for sure.
And
it's frowned upon.
And
it's just weirdly common.
Yeah, and as a podcaster too, it's like, especially when you're like at the top, so a story breaks about something that you've had in your past. Are you supposed to stay silent on it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's what I'm at.
Yeah, that's pretty much what you asking, because it's the same thing. Bro, it's the same thing with like the act situation that's happening right now too. It's like, are you supposed to glaze over that now, or just skip over it? You know what I'm saying? Like,
supposed to wait for a megalithic hip hop beat.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So I don't know. You have to be able to face it, but the people are never going to be satisfied. If Joe addresses every domestic situation that happens at some point, that's the Tahiry shit is always going to come. Yeah, always. Like,
whether it be because of her.
Say even if he moved on and grown from it, it's like, is he supposed to preface every new story with, as you guys remember, I've healed from my past mistakes, so I'm gonna chastise it. It's just it's stupid as fuck. You have to be able to go up there, do your part, address it, denounce it, whatever, speak on it, and keep it pushing.
Sounds like it's best to just never make that mistake, nigga.
Yeah, that is
then
the best.
You don't gotta answer
that is the best position to be in. That is a whole fact. That is the best position. Just don't have those mistakes. Some of them are unavoidable though. Because something a lawsuit can just get filed.
Oh yeah, that's definitely false. You can allege anything.
Yeah,
I was about to say.
You gotta prove
but
it.
like we've seen Act be in this crazy ass like tumultuous relationship for quite some time now.
For sure.
But I have like on a mainstream level, barely talked about. Soon as the lawsuit hits, boom, I'm seeing everyone on Twitter who's in the music industry or whatever, like take that as opportunity to denounce him, like a lawsuit really like cement shit to people. Or when Diddy's shit got raided. Up until then, it was like, oh, Cassie got a little lawsuit going on. We don't know what that means exactly. But the house gets raided, boom, everybody kind of like massively slides towards guilty.
Yeah. Because now we're seeing real consequences. Lawsuit, paperwork filed. That shit
hard to imagine that the feds are just totally wrong.
Yeah.
Like there might be something going on.
They hit the wrong
And it's not like they just had free time that day, like, let's go check out
But then that's
Diddy
not
kid.
necessarily true for Act, because like a lawsuit of that sort of civil suit is a literal money grab. Like it's literally like no matter what, the purpose is to get money.
Yeah, can you actually hit that button for me real quick? Because we're going to roll right into that.